there are three ways. There are three ways of getting independence. You can use war, violence, military tactics, military method, war, violence. You can use it. We have tried that one, 1967 to 1970, we tried that one, and we didn't succeed. Or should we try it again? Okay, fine, that is number one. War, military method, war, violence, that is number one. The question is that, do the Biafrans want to use that method? For me, I said no. We have tried it before and it did not work. Therefore, for me and those who believe in what I say, we have cancelled that one. We say we don't want war again. No more war. What we will spill blood to get through war, we can as well get it without war. And I will tell you how. That's number one. Number two, another method is political method of referendum. Political method. Now, this referendum is like a vote. It's like voting. Conduct election and cast a vote. That's like referendum. It's actually voting. Like you saw it here in Britain. Voting yes or no. So referendum can be used. But there is a process for referendum to work. Now, I have told the people who are talking about referendum that yes, referendum is good, but there is a due process of referendum. Use the due process of referendum. They say they don't want the due process of referendum. If they want me to tell them what they do, what they have to do, then that means they don't know what referendum means. If they're waiting for me now to tell them what to do for the referendum to work, that means they don't even know what they are talking about. But what I want to say is that for referendum to be effective, there is a due process of it. If you now go to your backyard, you and your children, on the Amala, you go and make a vote in your backyard and come and tell Nigeria, we have voted yes, we want to go. You think it's binding on Nigeria? If you go now, a private thing, you go home, all of you say you are Biafran activists, you go to your backyard, you do vote, and now you say, yay, we have voted yes, I want to go. You think Nigeria is bound to agree with you that you have voted to go? There is a due process of doing it. When you do it by due process, Nigeria will be bound to obey the outcome of that referendum. But look at it. Okay, that is political aspect. But I won't tell you now, here now, what you have to do. If you are the one agitating through referendum, do the right thing, follow the due process. I'm not against referendum, but go ahead, follow the due process so that the outcome of that referendum will be binding on Nigeria. But I won't tell you. Go ahead.
Before you go to the third point,
yes,
I want to take something from what you have just said now about referendum. Judging from the current state that we are in now, and they're talking about 2017, is that viable?
Okay, yeah, I have heard that they said first quarter of 2017 they will have referendum for independence of Biafra. First quarter is January to March, I think so. Huh? It's near the corner actually. We are the next 5 or 6 months we enter the first quarter. So within this first quarter of 2017, they said they want to conduct a referendum for Biafra independence. Fine, I said go ahead.
How?
Oh, they want to ask me how.
No, I'm saying is that from what you know, is that achievable?
I'm saying that the person who is agitating through that method, the person who is proposing that method, must have known what he wants to do.
You understand the process and you know the process.
I know the process. I know what to do. I know.
Is it achievable for the next 6 months?
I don't know the level. I don't know the person. The level that person has gone. I said follow due process, and if that person has followed the due process, fine, let him achieve it.
Okay, third option.
The third option is judicial method. Now, I said something about referendum being a vote. Now, judicial method is the enforcement of the law. Enforcement of your rights. Right that is created by law. Now, referendum is a vote whether you have the right to be free or not to be free. Do you get me? Referendum is a vote whether you have rights of self-determination or not. Now I want to ask you a question. If the law has given you a right over a piece of land, do you need to go to vote to say, I want us to vote whether I have right over this land or not? The sections 19 to 25, what we call articles 19 to 25, Cap 10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 1919. If you read it, it says that we, the indigenous people of the land, that we have inalienable right to self-determination. It says inalienable right to self-determination. That's what the law says, that we have the inalienable right to self-determination. So that law has created the right of self-determination, vested it in us, and said that right is inalienable. That is, inalienable means non-negotiable. So if the law has said that I am the owner of this piece of land, if the law says that I am the owner of this piece of land, and then an enemy has occupied that piece of land, should I go to vote to say, let us vote whether I am the owner of this land or not? Should we go to vote to see whether we are the owner of a right which the law has given to us? Fine, if you want to go and vote, go ahead and vote. But for me, the law says it's my right, and therefore I want to claim it. And that is why the judicial power is there. The judicial power will say, by the provisions of section this and this and this piece of land belongs to Barrister Emeka, therefore I declare that the right of occupancy vested in this is vested in Mr. Emeka, and that's final. It's not where go and start voting whether Mr. Emeka owns the land or not. You don't vote in that situation.
From what authority do you speak on Nigerian Constitution?
Oh, I am a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So, when I speak law, I speak as an authority in law. I am a lawyer both at national level and international level. I am solicitor of England and Wales, as well as barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So, I am speaking law. I am an authority in law.